life changed me on January 21st of 2008. But I changed my life on April 8th of 2008. I remember everything about that day. It was your ordinary January day in lovely Minnesota. It was cold. I'm sure there was a lot of snow on the ground. And I woke up that morning. I had an 8 a.m. appointment. So I woke up and I went downstairs, got myself ready, and my dad took me. My mom was working that day at the hospital across the street where she's a nurse. And we went in. It was going to be my third and final epidural injection to help treat back pain I had been experiencing. And things went smoothly at first. I had my first injection, and it didn't quite go as planned. I didn't go numb, which for epidurals, that's kind of the whole point of it. It's supposed to numb you. So they started kind of raising an eyebrow. They were a little confused why it didn't numb me. So they brought me back in the room a couple hours later and tried again. They manipulated with the catheter and then ended up doing a whole new injection. And it was then that my legs dropped and hit the table and things went numb. And it was much more abrupt than what I had remembered in the past injections, but I think both my dad and I just thought, okay, the epidural's working, and then I'll go sit in the recovery room and wait it out. It usually take about 2 hours, and then the feeling would slowly start coming back. And a couple hours later that afternoon, I got a little flinch in my toes, which usually meant it took another half hour. It starts at your toes and works its way back up. And so I was thinking, okay, we'll be headed home soon. About an hour later, it was still my toes, just a little flinch, could get a little wiggle. And sure enough, the afternoon and evening rolled on, and clinic was closing, and it was still just my toes. So they transferred me to the hospital, where little did I know I'd be spending the next 2 weeks. In a lot of ways, as hard as it's been, I wouldn't take it back. I was asked that question on live TV for the first time. If I could change January 21st, 2008, would I? And I'd never really thought about it that way. And I said no. I would do everything I can to get up and walk again. But I'd never take that day away. Because that day allowed me to learn so much about who I am and so much about life and the journey since, that as hard as it was necessary. And there's a reason why it happened. Growing up, my dad tucked my sisters into bed every night and would say our bedtime prayers, and then he would always tell us, you are the best, you can make a difference, and you can change the world. Have a life expectancy of about 50 because of depression and suicide and health issues that settle in when you're a paraplegic. And that really hit me. It was about 1.5 years after this happened when I heard those, and it was then that I realized what I'm doing is helping me beat those statistics. And the more and more I share my story, the more and more I can help someone else not become one of those statistics. There's this little girl, her name is Abby. She was 8 when I met her, she's now 10. And she had leukemia, and as a result of chemotherapy got Guillain-Barré and is now paralyzed. Her family didn't really know what that meant, just like mine didn't when this happened to me. And they contacted me, and after seeing my story on the Today Show, they sent me an email and reached out to me, and I went. They're from the cities, and I went and watched her swim in one of her meets because she was starting swimming. And she was in this very small, isolated club. It wasn't a part of USA Swimming. It was, she didn't swim in she swam in like a 15-yard pool, so it was very beginner stage, and which is great because you got to start somewhere. But we started working together, and she joined the swim club that my coach coaches for, and she's now swimming amongst able-bodied swimmers and your average, everyday 10-year-old kid. That someday I want to go to college just like Mallory, and I want to live on my own. And now, Abby's 10, and I have a boyfriend who I've been with for over 1 year now, and I guess her mom told me a little while ago on Facebook that Abby loves going on her mom's Facebook to look at pictures of my boyfriend and I, because she thinks that's really cool. So, you know, that's really neat to me, especially hearing those statistics for individuals with disabilities and seeing that it may be one person right now, but that I could change that for Abby and her family. And that's my reason that everything happens. And that's what makes all of it worth it. And that's why I put in the hard work at USA Swimming to get people with disabilities recognized, because when Abby's my age, hopefully everything will be much more advanced in terms of social acceptance of people with disabilities. I remember going to the Highland Pool as a little girl in the summertime with my friends and family. I have years and years of memories at that pool. The diving well is where I went off my first tie dive. The concession stand is where I enjoyed many push pops. And the pool is where I enjoyed countless fun times with my friends and family, just splashing around and playing games. Yeah, some days I miss it. Some days I wish I could just run and jump off the diving boards and go down the water slides. I will do something around the house and get frustrated because I will remember all too well how easy it used to be for me to do. But for me, swimming is the one place I can still do it all. When I'm in the water, I'm free from all of the restrictions. I've grown up in the pool, and to me, swimming is as second nature as walking used to be. And now it is something I can do and be out of my chair. And for as long as I'm in the water, I can just be free. I don't know why life happens the way it does, but I know there must be a reason for it all. I miss running. I miss walking. I miss knowing what it feels like to stand on my own 2 feet. There are things now that I think back on that I wish I would have had the chance to try. But now I just look at it as I have a whole different set of things I can try, a whole new world of opportunities before me. In sharing my story, I also think it's important to recognize that everyone in this room has a story. Everyone here has a reason and a way that brought them to this room. Everyone's been through ups. They've been through downs. I'm sure it hasn't been a perfect journey to get here. It may not be as apparent as mine. Mine's strapped to my backside. You really can't miss it. But we all have it. And a child that has issues, or yourself, whether it be things at work, things in your just everyday life, we all have a disability. And I think it's important to realize that no matter how small it may feel, we all have the ability to impact the world. We all have the ability to make a difference. I'm going to tell all of you what my dad told me when I was little. You're the best. You can make a difference, and you can change the world.